Alright, now it's Monday the 19th, and I was in luck. Napa had some shocks for me, nothing too fancy. They was like 28 bucks a piece, fairly reasonable. And I cannot believe what I see on here. Can you read that? Made in USA. I didn't think anything was made in USA anymore, but I was really glad to see it. Honestly, I try to buy American-made stuff, but sometimes it gets to where everything's made overseas, and sometimes you don't even think to look for it. But I cannot believe it. I actually bought something made in USA. Well, I actually found something. It's not unbelievable that I would buy something, but it's unbelievable that I would find something made in USA. I didn't know they made stuff in America no more. Alright, so we're going to try to stick these shocks on. I'm hoping that they will be, oh yeah, they're going to be easy. There will be nothing like getting the old ones off, that's for sure. So, and I still can't find my mount for my tripod. Looks like I'm going to have to declare it missing in action and buy another one or make one. Just depending on how much time I got. So let me set the camera up and throw these shocks on real quick. Shouldn't take too long. Hopefully I'll set the tripod right here. I'll probably have to set it a little lower. Anyway, first thing I want to do is make sure the nuts screw on. There's something, a little tip before you put your shocks on. Make sure your nuts screw freely onto the studs. Here's all my hardware in here. If they don't screw all the way down with your finger, run a tap in the nuts and a die over the threads, and that will help your installation go a little bit easier, because you know how sometimes when the nut hangs the whole shock spins on you. Okay, let me get that taken care of and we'll go to putting these on the car. Okay, the stud on the top on both of them screwed on pretty good. I can take the nut and just spin them right on. Figured I'd let you know what I was talking about when I said I was running a die over. I figure most of y'all know what a tap and die is, but just in case, this is a die right here. It's a threading die. You run it over a stud or a bolt to either make threads or clean up threads. And these studs here have got some paint on them. I guess that's, as you can see, it's being kind of stubborn to go on. See if I got the right end started. Yes, I do. Big end always goes on first. It's tapered. Bigger, smaller, and bigger end always goes on first. And it doesn't hurt. Squirt a little oil on it. Usually you want some kind of thick tapping oil, but since all I'm doing is cleaning paint off the threads, I'll just use some of this Air 2 oil. Any kind of lubricant helps. See if I can get this started straight. Get a rag too. And this is just a handle, fits on that die. Helps give you a little leverage in turning it. And if I can get these threads thing to start. There we go. It was a little stubborn, but there it goes. Quite a bit of paint on those. Yeah, you want to get those, like I said, this will make your shock installation go a little easier. Hopefully it will. I'm sure some of you have been in a situation where you take your impact or maybe just a ratchet and try to tighten your nut up on your shock, and the whole shock spins on you. You have to grab a hold of it with something, like a pair of vice grips, or you got to get somebody else to hold it for you. Stuff like that. And as you can see, it screws on now. It wouldn't do that before. And in case you're wondering, I got this gently, very gently clamped in there. Now, don't crank down on your vise if you got to hold it in a vise and mess up your shock. And I'll show you how this one does not want to start. I can just get it to start, but I got to force it with my fingers. That one's not as bad as the other, but I'm going to go ahead and run that die over it anyhow. Just to make things a little easier on me, hopefully. This should make it a lot easier. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to blow it off with some air if I can find my air nozzle. And whenever you're done with your tab, blow it out with air too. Good way to clean it out. And see how easy that spins on there? That'll work. Alright, now we're going to get all our bushings and put this thing on the car. Okay, we already got the driver's side shock in. Just want to show you a little something here. You get two different size bushings. You get these small ones and these big ones. And if you notice, the bigger diameter ones are a little bit taller than the others. It's not much, but it's enough to make a difference and give you some trouble if you put the wrong bushings on the wrong end. If you use the two big ones up top, you will not have enough. Once it's up in the car, you will not have enough thread to get your nut on it. So what I always do, always use the big bushings to take most of the load, which means this is going to go between the shock and the bottom retainer plate. And I want to match up this. You also have bigger diameter emboss. See that step right there? This bigger one matches the hole in my ladder bar, which also serves as my shock plate. These ladder bars are some homemade ones that I did not make myself, but I bought them from a guy at a swap meet a long time ago at an All Ford meet in Ohio. Is a nostalgia drag and car show type deal. But like I said, we always use the bigger bushing on both ends of the actual shock. Need another washer right here. This goes here. Big step goes towards the hole up in the floorboard, which actually this is the bottom. This is the top. I had it backwards there. The big step goes towards a hole in the floorboard, because that is the same diameter as that. And I just stick it up in the hole in the floorboard, if I can see it. It's up front. Right here. And I just go ahead and push my shock up in there. We couldn't do that with those other white shocks, could we? The ones with the big ugly coil spring on them. I will never ever buy those again unless I got something, I guess, with really weak leaf springs and it needs some kind of a aid here. The angle on these shock mount tabs could be changed, but I'm not going to do that today. And we take a smaller bushing, big step towards the actual hole, and now I need a washer and a nut. And we just put that on there. And tighten it up. Actually, before I get it too tight, I'm going to go ahead I think before I crank down on it too much, I'm going to go ahead and put the tops in. Alright. Now for the fun part, get up in the trunk, in this tiny little trunk hole. Good thing I'm not a very big guy. And crawl up in the trunk. You won't be able to see much after I get down in here. And I have a bushing. Big step towards the floor, facing down. Small bushing, that is. Washer. I guess I could bring the camera in here with me, but I'm not going to do it. I'm already in here. And now I'm going to get the nut started. Tuck thread, it feels like. And you need a deep well socket, 9/16 to reach it. My shock is spinning on me or not. Feels like it's pressing my bushing down. Yeah, it's tightening up. Oh yeah. Slim those up the other side. It's already tight. Just want to double check it. And now I get to crawl back out of here. There's not much room in here with this fuel cell. I'll grab the camera and show you inside of here in a minute. Now, just to show you how much room I have in there. Fuel cell doesn't make for very much room. Actually, it's a big trunk without that. But hopefully someday I'm going to put a stock fuel tank back in it. I've got one in the attic, brand spanking new, just never gotten around to doing it. And now, I'll just tighten up my nuts on the bottom. Flip the screen around here to make sure you can see me. And that's trying to spin on me. There we go. These ratchet wrenches are handy, but ratchet box end, these are kind of cheap. So it can't take much torque. You probably, I don't know if you heard it, but it just tried to strip out on me. But it's good for once you get the bolt or nut broken loose. You got a lot of threads to go and they're not super loose. See how it's stripping out now? They're good for that, but once you go to torquing it down, you gotta switch. Alrighty, now I gotta get the other side. And there we go. And there's something else. You don't want to over tighten these. You can actually squeeze those bushings to the point where they'll crack on you. Especially after you get a little age on them and they get a little dry. Let's back this camera up a little bit. Because I'm going to get rid of my jack stands and put the car back on the ground. It wasn't so bad. You just got to know which bushing goes where and make sure your threads go easy. Your nuts grow easy on your threads. Pretty easy, quick job. Oh, I need one of those high performance jacks that travel more with each pump of the handle. Oh. But I will say it's one thing for this cheap jack. It's heavy, but it lasts a lot longer than those aluminum jacks, I guess, which I've never bought an expensive aluminum jack. They're really nice ones that travel a lot each time you do it, each time you pull the handle down, and they're lightweight. They tend not to last very long, and these cheap heavy jacks last forever. Now, here's the bad thing about them. They don't release very easy. I'll probably drop this car fairly hard. It's hard to... No, it's going to break loose on me. Okay, never mind. Usually, it cuts loose really quick like that. Okay, there it is. I'm almost thinking that maybe the springs have settled down a little more since yesterday. Just because I feel like I stretched them trying to get those coilover type shocks out of there. Alright, let me fire this thing up and pull it out, and maybe we'll go for a quick cruise. Even before I wash it up, I want to see if it rubs or any tires rub or anything, since it's setting a little lower. Okay, as you can see, I took it for a ride from the cold start, and a view of me leaving the driveway and coming back in. Hopefully I can edit that to be a pretty decent little part of the video. But I'm satisfied with the way everything turned out. No rubbing, ride's good. Looks like it may have settled down a little more than it was yesterday, especially after I just drove it. Car is sitting on slightly uphill, front end pointing uphill, so this car is pretty close to sitting level. And you can't see when any tires are rubbing. I couldn't hear any rubbing when I drove it. No rattles other than my left tailpipe's had a rattle for a while. I need to fix that, but this car is filthy, needs to be cleaned up, so I'm going to call this a video, and I'm going to clean this thing up and try to take it to a cruise in Friday that isn't too far from here if it isn't raining. So if it rains, no video. If it does, we'll make a video. And say hello to Angel for those of you who haven't seen her for a while. She may be the one that got my tripod mount for my camera. She's good for that. She likes to steal things that belong to me and give me a look that says, I dare you to come get it. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to be taking it easy after work for the rest of the week, do a few other little things, and go take my trip to New York, try to get a little bit of video of something interesting up there, and hopefully come back and start to work on the Power Stroke. Thanks for watching.